Hey guys, I'm Amaroth, and here I've got a model I will want to convert to M2 just to show you how to convert the model to M2. And I would like to talk first about some rules you need to follow when you are building a model which is supposed to be M2. But the first limitations you should always keep in mind is that your model shouldn't have more than 21,800 verticals. So make sure that your verticals are uh, beneath 20,000 and you should be alright. And I would advise you to do the same with faces, key faces under 20,000 as well, and you shouldn't have any problem with fitting into M2 structure. The second thing is that every single face or every single geoset should have only one material on it when it comes to M2. So right now, when we take a look into UV editor, you can see that there are four textures. There's the first one, the second one, the third one here, and the fourth one. So we've got four materials, four textures, but only one geoset. And this would be fine for WO, but this won't work for M2. When it comes to M2, we need to divide it. So I will select every single material and I will divide it or separate it. There's probably some sort of tool for this, but I will do it by hand now. So that's the first one, the second one, and there are the last ones. So the first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one. We got four geosets, and we have made sure that every single geoset has only one material on it. There is no geoset with two materials. If there was any geoset with two materials on it, it would crash in game. Yet another thing you should always make sure of or about is that your faces are facing outwards of the model. So these faces are facing outwards, as you can see right now, and I will reverse them now. And now they are black in Maya, and this means that they are facing inwards and that I'm looking at them from their back side, and these faces would be called in-game. They wouldn't be even rendered, they wouldn't be visible, because World of Warcraft assumes that if some face is facing the other way than you aren't supposed to see it, so it's in general to improve in performance. So unless you have two-side rendering turned on your object, you need to have all faces facing outwards out of the object, so they will be visible in-game. If you have any sort of open hole, open faces like I have here, keep them beneath surface, beneath terrain, so they aren't visible. That's probably quite obvious. And yet another thing, try to keep your materials well named after textures. So as you can see, I've got those materials named like textures, and when you would take a look at them, you can see that that the name of this texture really matches material name, at least to some degree. So I can easily tell what texture is supposed to be there. That's very handy sometimes. And the last thing, and that should be obvious to anyone who knows at least something about 3D modeling, are amounts of verticals on faces. Every single object you will convert to World of Warcraft will get triangulated, and or into any game really. And when something gets triangulated, it will get extra edges to make every single face triangle. So let's assume that we've got any sort of model where is this flat surface, this face here, it is a flat surface. Okay, let's say that we've got even some reason for those verticals to be like this, so it is like this. So you've got this face and it has 7 verticals actually on it. And when this gets triangulated, what can very easily happen is something like this. You will have triangles going like this into only one vertical, or most of triangles will go into only one vertical, and this won't look good in game because shading and lightening of models is based on its geometry. So you, under certain conditions, under certain angles, you will be able to see those triangles, and you will see some triangles more light or more bright, and some triangles will be more shaded, more dark. And in that case, you will be able to see those triangles, and you will be able to tell that while this surface is flat, it doesn't actually look like it is flat. So that's quite unpleasant. So avoid building any sort of faces which have more than 4 verticals on them. So in this case, either merge them into this. So now I have turned them into one face, into one vertical, and they are faces now which have only 4 or 3 verticals. Or you can do something like this as well, obviously. But then you would have similar problem on next phase, which would be here as well. But anyway, always cut such phase in that manner that it has only 3 or 4 verticals. And if you don't need those verticals, simply delete them. Don't keep any verticals whatsoever which aren't necessary. So in this case, you got 3 completely unnecessary verticals. They aren't doing anything. The only thing they will do here is messing up shading and messing up geometry. So delete them. Don't keep any unnecessary verticals, and every single face should have 3 or 4 verticals and never more on it. So these were my tips about M2 geometry, or about geometry of objects which are suitable for being converted to M2s. And probably the last thing I should mention really are collisions. In this case, for example, I've got stairs like this, and I've got this invisible face going over those stairs, so when player is going up, his camera won't just go crazy. It won't bump over those all edges, up and down, up and down, up and down, and so on. So that's probably the last thing. If you have any sort of walkable surface and which has a lot of edges, and you have reason to be afraid that the camera would just go crazy there, just place invisible, plain there invisible face with some ghost material which is transparent. So it is smooth to go over that stairs or whatever it is. So those were my tips about M2 geometry. I hope this was useful for you guys, and in next video we will take a look at converting a model into M2. So take care and happy modding.